Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. Hope you all had a great Christmas yesterday, and thank you for coming. And we created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other. So grateful for LaSchelle this morning, who will be guiding us to reflect on 2024 and uh, and also to move forward to 2025 with a plan and in order to create our best life. So with that, LaSchelle, tell us a little bit about yourself and then go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Rennie. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you guys joining today. Just so you know, I'm having a little tech issues. For whatever reason, none of my microphones want to work. So we're on headsets with the worst microphone I have available. But I am a transformational life coach. I also am helping people who want to be conscious about themselves and be a leader in this world. And so that is something that's become a huge passion over the last year because I realized that a lot of people think that other people are leaders. And what I've realized is that we all have to be a leader because if we're not leading our own lives, we're not going to be getting anywhere. And so actually what I'm doing today, the looking back at 2024 and celebrating and then looking forward to 2025. What I realized is a lot of people, we're really, really good at beating ourselves up, but some of us are not so great at celebrating who we are and what we've accomplished. And so I want to give an opportunity to do that today. So to get us started, I'm going to have you think for a moment. And just so you know, because my tech isn't working, I had all my music ready. I had all this stuff done. And this morning, literally nothing is working. And that was what happened because I disconnected everything to go take care of my nephew and spend time. So he wasn't by himself for Christmas. And I got home really late last night, got up early, and nothing's working. So anyways, so we're going to just do this wing it. And sometimes doing a wing it is actually better in some ways. So what I'm going to have you do is think of an intention, like why was it important for you to be here today? And we'll do some popcorn of people. Like for me, the reason it's important for me is I know that my when I make plans and I actually am intentional about where I'm going, I am going to get somewhere. If I'm just living, a lot of things can happen. And I was thinking this morning about that whole story about the rocks, where if you put the tiny rocks in first and then you put the big rocks and you wait at the end, the big rocks don't fit. But if you actually put the big things, the things that are most important in first into a jar, and then you put the medium ones in, and then you fill it in, and then you can put water, you can get a lot more stuff done. And so I wanted to share with you something so that you can actually make your 2025 the best possible. So if anyone would love to share an intention, a really quick intention, like 30 seconds or less, I would love to hear from you.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. So in 2025, I would like to start and complete my deep dive process decluttering workbook.
I love that.
Like go real small, but that's what I want to achieve, at least.
I love it. Anyone else want to share their intention? And
Well,
For
I
actually,
me,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
be really,
Go
I'm
ahead,
going to
Mo.
clarify for the intention for actually being here today. Why is it important for you to be here today?
when you said
Let's
bring out your calendar, I was like, yeah, that's a great for 2024, and I also have my 2025 upcoming calendar.
Good.
And it's funny because my intention is to be intentional, to be
I
really
love it.
intentional with my time, to be intentional with my marketing, to be intentional because it's just, I've always been like learning so many things, like just, will this work or this work or this work? But so really, really, I've created this calm recently. So being very intentional, very laser focused on what is the outcome I want and what do I need to do to get there.
Hey, LaSchelle, your volume is kind of low. Is there a
I'm
way?
so sorry.
Okay,
I
that's
will try
better.
and keep this
That's
right
better.
here. This, this is what
I'm here.
happens when
I'm here
tech
because
sucks.
I'm here for the sisterhood because really, since it's shifted over to sisterhood, we really are supporting each other emotionally. I can feel the difference. I can feel the difference. We're not here worrying about somebody's going to buy from us. We're going to go through us because that's how you get to know what we do. And it's so critical to know each other, really know each other. And and then we'll know who to refer if that
Yes.
occurs. Yeah, it's
Well,
we get to be our fullness
So
here.
true.
and Sandra, thank you. I appreciate that. And I want you to know today, this is something I'm doing. I've done it for the last 3 years as kind of a gift to people. And with this community, I wanted to do it as a gift. So I'm not selling anything. I'm not doing anything, but this is something that I feel is important. And I also know too that when we actually make statements out loud and especially share it with people who we trust and who care and share and love us, that we actually can make things even better for ourselves and others. So thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank
Anyone
you.
else
I
want to
love the
share?
ripples that we create because we become ourselves, and this is how we get to become ourselves, truly.
Yes,
Thank you.
I love that.
Wendy was ready with something there. I'll shut up here.
Wendy?
Go ahead, Wendy.
I just was inspired to be here today. I wanted to, and here I am.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming.
I
We're
love
glad
that
to
you
have
just
you.
wanted to be here.
Yeah, isn't
Anne,
that,
would
is
you
that
like to share anything? You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, yeah, I'm good too. I wanted to be here because I'm new to the community and I've been feeling in the few times that I've been that it's been a really nice, supportive environment and it feels safe. Um, and I wanted to trust in just showing up and being here.
I love that. So glad you're here. And Rini, I'm going to call
yes.
you out. Is there any reason other than that you have the link and you're supporting me?
Yeah, I want to kind of take care of myself too because I always do things for other people, for my family, for my friends, for the coffee club, but then I don't, like I put myself last. Like one of the things that I'm doing is changing the time to 8 o'clock because next in 2025 because 7 a.m. it's super early. Not only do my friends in the West Coast said that that's way too early, but also for me. And I thought, why not? Even if it's for me, what's wrong with that? So I decided that's what I'm going to do in terms of priority. Sometimes I'm one of those always apologizing, feeling guilty, feeling I'm not doing enough. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to put your seat belt first before you could self help the child next to you. So that's kind of the concept.
I love that, Rini. And when you told me that this morning, you're changing it to 8 o'clock, for me, I already have a commitment that time. And I'm celebrating you because I know that's what you've wanted for almost a year and a half since I first joined. So I'm
Yeah,
celebrating you that you're actually doing something for you. And because sometimes, you know what, you might be able to get more people who are local by changing the time. And so, yay for you for doing that. So
thank you.
awesome. Well, okay, so to get us started, thank you so much for your intentions. I love that Mo wants to be intentional. I love that Rini wants to put herself first. I love that Sandra wants to support the sisterhood and that Anne similarly feels good about this and just wants to kind of explore. And Jessica, I love that you want to bring your workbook to the end. And I also want to call you out a little bit that you said it's just a little thing. Actually, it might be little to you because of a talent that you have. And there are so many people who could really, really use it that it could be a big thing to them. And so I just want to remind all of us that sometimes we may diminish what our talents and our skills are, and we could actually save somebody else's life by using our tiny talents and skills that are so comfortable to us that we don't even realize it. And when we share it with the world, we could actually save somebody. So I'm celebrating you. And Wendy, I love that you just wanted to be here. And I love that when Sandra saw you, her reaction to, is that Wendy? And that's what the sisterhood is all about. So thank you. Okay, I did tell you I wanted you to bring your pictures and I wanted you to bring your 2024 calendar. And so we're going to dive in and I'm going to give you some time and I'm looking for some music right now because my other music isn't working, tech issues. And so I want you to pull out your phone. And the reason I said bring your phone is because I want you to open up your picture app. And most of us actually take things that are important to us, take pictures of things that are important to us. And so if you're looking at your pictures from 2024, that means that those are probably things that were important to you. So as I was going through mine, one of the things that I noticed is I took a lot of pictures of my plants. I ended up getting a tower garden this year. I have been growing my own greens. This weekend, I was able to, for Christmas dinner, we ended up having Swiss chard that I had cut off. And I made homemade pesto from basil that is going like prolific. And so to me, I realized, I guess if that's what I was taking pictures of, that's probably something that was important to me. And I'm celebrating that the first seeds I planted actually germinated and the rest of them didn't. So I want you guys to go through your phone, go through your pictures, and I'm going to give you about 2, 3, 4 minutes and let you just kind of go through. And remember, so you're looking for things that were important to you, but also things you want to celebrate. Like, did you have a graduation? I know, Rinny, you actually went to Australia for the first time with your husband to celebrate his retirement. And so things like that. And then if you want to, just write them down on a piece of paper because we're going to do a little celebration later. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. And glad you got back, Sandra. We missed you for the moments that you were gone.
My husband has not retired yet, but
Oh, he hasn't? Oh, I thought it was a retirement.
no, but he said his intention. So I said, okay, let's go to
Got it.
Australia for pre-retirement.
I misunderstood. I actually thought he'd retired already. I was like,
No,
woohoo, she's on retirement.
he's planning to retire at the end of March.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
so the pre-retirement just to see if he wanted to retire. I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and
while I missed out on the meeting, I missed what we were doing.
I'm sorry, sweetie. So
that was
if
to take my photographs. Yeah,
right,
on my phone. I went to look for my photographs, and then I blipped me right out of here.
Okay,
so
go ahead and start looking through your photographs and looking for things that you want, that you would love to celebrate, that you had, that you noticed this year. So,
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I have so many photographs, LaSchelle. That's my hobby. I take tons of pictures. If you're on my Facebook, you could see I have so many pictures. I post all kinds of stuff. In fact, I'm like the photographer every time I go to an event. They designate me as a photographer.
And I suspect you're like me that that I don't like to get rid of pictures either. And I'll have like 5 of the same thing. So
yes.
is that too loud?
No. So you just want us to kind of look at pictures and see how that trigger our
Yep, exactly. And just kind of like walk through memory lane and write down, if you want to, anything that was important that you felt like you would like to celebrate.
Okay. What is that noise?
Which noise? Are you guys getting dings?
Am I the only one
Sorry.
hearing that?
I'll see if I can get that to go away. Let me
I'm
see.
hearing it too. I don't know if it's coming from LaSchelle or from Rinny. If it's if somebody's delete, it feels like maybe it's somebody's deleting something, and it's like, does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but that's what I was sort of hearing.
Yes, that's what I was hearing too. But I'm not hearing it right now.
It's probably like a notification that I have on that I don't even know which app it is. Does, has anyone made it all the way through their year, or do you guys still need more time?
I did. I
Okay.
did because I changed my
Okay.
phone. I
Cool.
have a new phone and so I didn't have as many pictures, but it's plenty enough. But the first thing that I noticed is that one of the presentation by Joelle Bruce several weeks ago, she said about saying yes to things that you're uncomfortable about, things that you normally don't, like, to be, in other words, to be okay to be uncomfortable, going out of your comfort zone. So what I did was I have this group of the group local group that I local women group that I joined lately, and they had events and stuff, but every time I said no, I don't feel like it or whatever, I'm too busy. But this time I didn't. For her presentation, they invited me to this ugly sweater get together. I I I said yes, and I went and took pictures. And then this last minute, this past week, several days ago, they invited me to their fire pit party gift exchange, Christmas gift, whatever, gift exchange. I wasn't going to go. Last minute, I said yes, and I went to Costco, bought the gift, but I had the best of fun meeting a lot of ladies, and I'm making new friends. So I think saying yes sometimes you don't know where you're gonna. I don't know them. Now they're my new friends. So
I
that's
love
really
that.
awesome.
Thank you, Rinny. Anyone else want to share what they noticed? Sandra?
Every one of them is my family, my friends, and my Toastmasters. That's it. No business. I bring myself to my business. So in my camera, no business. Just me and my family and my friends.
I love that. The important things.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Thank you. Miss Mo.
Oh my God, I love my photos so much because they just tell a story. Even like when my kids came down from Austin in the spring to tell me they were moving to Florida to be near her family. They've had a roller coaster. And of course, I was sad to see them go, but at the same time celebrating a new adventure that they're saying yes. It's exactly what who's it was it Rini
Rini.
was saying about
Mhm.
saying yes. And my daughter went to, I was looking at pictures from her on her winter formal just to dovetail on what you were saying. And so she was like, she only went with two of her other friends. All of her other friends bailed on her. And she goes, it was kind of lame, but I'm glad I went. And I said, I'm glad you're glad you went because this is how we learn. This is how we experience life. So, and then we were home alone Christmas Eve just after my son left because his fiance didn't want to come over. I don't know what that's all about, but anyways, but we had a great Christmas Eve, and then my daughter got sad because her other brothers, her brothers weren't with her, and we got invited to a friend's. And I was like, let's go, let's just go because I thought it's gonna be weird and awkward, and we just ended up having the best time. And yesterday, I got invited to my friends because I was alone after the kids left, and to their family gathering, and they just took me right in, and it was so wonderful. So that saying yes, I wrote that down because that's such a great opening because I had so much travel and so there's so many photos of nature in my phone and food because how it nourishes us mind, body, and soul. And so I just looking at those photos, it's like I celebrate and so many sunrises and how we celebrate each new day. And so it's just I just raise my own vibrational frequency just by looking at my photos. And so it's
Yes, exactly.
I feel so blessed that I get to experience all of this, and all the stories behind the photos even. It's just the what's going on behind the scenes. It's not always pretty, but just I still feel blessed to have experienced all of those things. So, thanks, LaSchelle. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Mo. And
Yes.
actually, I love that you just gave a tip right there. I don't know if you remember. So, if you're having kind of a crappy day, probably if you grab your phone and go through your photos and start doing that, you can raise your vibration and shift your energy from kind of stuck to, wow, I'm so grateful. And I've done that many times before. So, because we usually aren't capturing things that we don't like. So, anyways,
Exactly. That's great. Absolutely. I mean, we're capturing the brighter side of things. It was tenuous going to my father's memorial because of a lot of drama around it, not me. And just but what came out of it was so beautiful. So it also shows how we can show if we when we show up how capable we are, a bit like that being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's just how just those small acts every day build an amazing life. So thank you again.
I love that. And Rini, I appreciate you saying that getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I used to say, like back in 2020, that was like my mantra. I am committed to being uncomfortable in the interest of my growth. And so I've realized a little bit, I've been a little not getting back into my comfort zone, and that's not good because I'm not growing. It makes, there's a lot of fear in the comfort zone, it seems like. So,
Yeah, I think the same thing with business, entrepreneur here. We have several of you who are entrepreneurs. There are things that sometimes it's really uncomfortable to grow your business, marketing, meeting new people, connection, networking, that kind of stuff. Sometimes, there could be a block in where you don't want to do it because it's not comfortable. You're not used to doing that. You're afraid.
yeah. Did anyone
Any of
else
you
want?
experience that at all in growing your business, Lynn? Anne, sorry, you're muted.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like I've noticed so much in this past year about allowing myself to see the truth, right? Because a lot of times we see with our blinders on whatever we're seeing, right? But we don't actually always see what's really happening, right? And we might not be noticing, where this is not a good place for me to be. Oh, this one is a good place for me to be, and I feel like I learned a lot of that last year. Um, And, sometimes that's hard, right? Something that you've been a part of for a long time, and you're like, oh, should I really get out of this? And so there's places where I'm not like getting out of necessarily, but I'm not spending half as much time in it as I was before. Like it still can benefit me in certain ways, but not in the same way. That's just to answer your comment on that. I think I'm answering that. But is it okay for me to go about last year?
I would
Yes,
love
go
to hear
ahead.
about your
We're
photos.
reviewing last year.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, for me, in last year, last year I said yes to me. This year rather, I said yes to me. I downsized this year. I'm actually not at my home right now. I'm at my sister's house, but I downsized, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I had to make so many shifts and changes because I had to say yes to me. And, one of my daughters who was living with me when she's home from veterinarian school, I had to let her, I had to set her free that she was going to have to live with her dad. And that was really, really hard for me. And it still is at times because I want her with me, but I had to take care of me. And, I went through a divorce many years ago, and, the kids were with me, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult. And now I'm kind of unleashed because my younger daughter had moved out a year ago. And so that gave me the freedom to be able to move on. And so this year I was intentional. I was unintentional at first about moving. It was sort of like it came to me and I was like, oh no, I can't because I have a dog. And they're like, oh no, you can bring a dog. Well, my dog was older. And what happened was as soon as I made the decision that I was moving, within a week, she passed. So she was basically saying to me, Mom, it's your time to go and it's your time to thrive and you don't need me anymore. And so that was like huge. And I just kept learning how to say yes to me and then trusting in that, which I hadn't done before. I always was thinking of everybody else and taking care of everybody else. And it was very foreign to me. So I had to get comfortable um, with being uncomfortable about saying yes to me. Like that was so weird for me. Um, and when I look back at that, I I realize how powerful and how beautiful it was to do that for myself. Like when I look back at these pictures, like Mo was saying, it was actually inspirational, like I've been using food as medicine to heal myself for the last 4 years, and that's been the coolest experience. I love nature. I'm out in nature all the time. I love the simplicity of nature and flowers and just all the beauty of that. It just warms my heart and energizes me. Um, and so, yeah, I guess I just wanted to share, mostly about just allowing myself to see me and see that it's okay to see me now and it's all right. And that's important.
I love that, and I love it that you're here because like this may be uncomfortable too for you to just kind of be here and share your life story with us. You know what I mean? And for you to just do that, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
and thank you, Anne. And I also, Jessica, I was thinking about you and how you moved to Chile and you dare to buy a piece of land and build a house. To me, that's like super intentional, super brave in a foreign country. Um, what are your thoughts about this conversation?
Well, I love hearing about what everybody else says, but for me, what was super intentional about the property was the part of where we live is called Pengilemu. Um, and
Can you speak louder or closer to your microphone?
yeah, is that better? Is
Yes,
that better? Yeah.
yes.
So the part of where we live, which is deep in Patagonia, the section of town where I was very interested in looking, very hard to find a piece of property at all, but especially one that was 1 hectare, which is about a little over 2 acres. And my husband, we found a few other places, and my husband was all excited about it. And I kept saying, no, nope, that's not it. That's not it. And then one day on Facebook Marketplace, up popped this property, and we went out and looked at it, and it was like, that's the one. And, you know, that's one thing that I've learned, and it was confirmed in 2024, that you have to keep saying no until you get that absolute 100% yes. That's like the main thing. And people are scared and they want to go with the first thing or something that's almost like, oh, this checks most of the boxes, but I didn't want most of the boxes. I wanted all of them. So that's me.
So true. Thank you for your share. That's awesome.
I just want to
Wendy,
I just
yeah,
want to
go
say
ahead.
one more super important thing that happened in 2024, which is my husband had taken a photograph of a street dog. There's so many street dogs here in Chile. And he brought it home and he showed me, oh, I love this little dog. And about 6 weeks later, we were walking into a store and I said, okay, dog, whenever you're ready to find us, we're ready to have you. And literally, not exaggerating, 2 minutes later, in a blizzard, this dog walked straight up to us. And now he's our dog. And his name is Meatball.
Wow, what a great story. Thank you for your share. Wendy,
Hey, okay, so I was taking notes, and this is kind of how my mind works. It's not safe in there. So what I did see is like all the things I love to do, my family, barbecues, travel, my son got wedding, more family, right? Expanding family, adventure, creation, plants, my gardening, drawing. I draw. I also write a bit. So well, I saw nature, like all these things that interconnected with who I am. And then I realized all I saw was creativity, love, and abundance. Because even pictures of my business, which I love, was there. And I was like, wow, it was just those three things that were happening, but they were happening in so many different forms throughout the year. And during 2024, I became a lot more allowing, and I don't mean like I allow things to happen to me, but like just a flow of allowing and just acceptance of the journey and accepting in a way like I am seeing this because this is part of my journey. I don't know what it means, but it means something eventually. And then it turns out to be a lesson. And that's pretty amazing. And I'm going to do some more of that in 2025. That's really my goal, is just to kind of go with where the flow takes me this year. So
I love that, Wendy. I love that because what is that book by Surrender Experience? Did anybody read that? But anyway, it's about surrendering. Sometimes we want to be in control. We want to control our lives. We want to control our destiny, and things are not always going our way. But this idea of surrendering is just kind of listening. It's kind of spiritual in a way that you're trusting God, you're trusting the universe to take you wherever it is, and all is well, good or bad. There's always lessons learned. There's always something good in whatever happened to you. So, did Sandra, did you get a chance to say, oh, I'm sorry, Wendy, go ahead.
I wanted to say something. I love that. Does it check all the boxes? Because in the past, I'd settle for something was that because I was afraid perfect wouldn't happen. And now I'm like, this is not it. And I'm easier to say no. But when it checks all the boxes, I'm so willing to say yes. I'm like, yep,
Awesome.
that's it.
That's great. Go ahead, Sandra.
I'm really enjoying this whole conversation as it goes around, and thanks, Wendy, for reminding about checking all the boxes, because that's exactly what's been coming to me the last few days as I look at my manner. I speak my truth, and like Deborah said last meeting, almost instantly I take it back or soften it and reduce the impact of what I've said with my straight talk. And this is doing the same thing, this checking all the boxes, because I've had the honor now of meeting a couple people who were just absolutely, yes, we're going to work with you. They didn't really care about the pricing. It didn't work out per se, but that feeling of feeling them saying, you're the one for me, has been amazing. And that's come to me in the last couple of weeks. And then this checking all the boxes is really critical. So that one I'm going to hold. Speak my truth. It's compassionate, and don't take it back. They need to hear whatever I have to say that's true, and leave it alone. They can stay or they can go. But as long as I'm compassionate with that intention, I get to, yeah. And I've always worried about, I'm too strong. So I reduce myself. That's not good.
No.
Wow.
Be yourself, Sandra. You're awesome the way you are.
You're going to make me cry now, because that's, I always keep thinking that I'm just too much. That is still left over from an entire life. If you're just too much, you're too much in my face, you're too much. Doesn't matter whatever, I'd be too much.
That's what's good about you.
Thank you. I'm not going to take myself back anymore. This is my intention now for 2025. Be me all the way.
Yeah. LaSchelle, take it.
I love that. I was going to say, Sandra, I love what you said, because I actually work with someone who her mother told her, you're too much, you're this. And she's been put into a position that's made me really, it's been really, really stressful for me. But what I've been thinking too is that's her gift and that's her talent. And same thing with you, Sandra. And there are people out there who need you to have the strong voice. And I think especially right now with what's happening in the world, we need strong voices to stand up and to step forward, because there's a lot of people who have mousy voices. And I've been that mousy voice because I was told to shut up, that children were to be seen, not heard. And I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to find my voice.
Thank you.
Because I was told
that's what I'm about, is helping people find their voice. So I would give it, and then I would take it instantly away. I know that Deborah doesn't think she hit on. I think she was floundering around like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this, but she nailed it dead on for me without her really realizing it, that it's okay that I'm as much as I am, period. And my tribe's going to love me as I am. And that's it. Thank you so much.
And Sandra, what a shame that I look at each one of you and I see gifts, I see talents that we have, and that we have been diminishing or playing smaller than we should have been. What if we were actually given the permission to be able to step into our talents? And Anne, I'm seeing you, and I see what you were sharing with us today. And I know that you, this past year has been you stepping into your talents, you saying yes to yourself. Because so many times I was taught also, oh, it's everybody else first. It's everybody else first. Well, guess what? I deserve some time. If I'm not resourced, I'm not any good for anyone else either. And so I know that all of us, that's been a struggle. And
thank you, LaSchelle.
Wendy, I want to on yours. I want to say I love what you just said too. And Sandra, this is kind of to you too, and I think also to Anne. One of the things this year I did is I actually put a pause button on my business, and I said, I am just going to see what really matters to me. And one of the things I realized, and Wendy kind of touched on this, was I have been doing things for so many people and so much stuff, and Anne kind of touched on this. And guess what I realized? I've been doing things that aren't really necessarily in my values or my highest values. And so I hired a coach earlier this year, and I didn't have the money, but I just decided it was super important. And I knew in order for me to move forward, I had to get this right. And so I've identified my 5 highest values. And so now does this activity actually help me with my highest values? And am I And I know that as I'm doing that, it's actually making things more clear. So so sometimes like doing something that's good is great, but sometimes you have to say no to what's good because you got to get to the best or the like or the better, to be in your highest values, to be the best service in the world, not just for you but for others. And I know I was listening to one of my coaches this week, and he said, "Oh, I could hardly introduce myself because he was having a hard time with speaking." And now he's said, I actually speak for 3 days without hardly any notes because I'm being authentic, because I'm actually knowing what I'm doing. And I know all of us, when we're speaking out of our values, working in our values, doing this stuff, we get out of this damn amygdala, which gives where our fear, our flight, fright, freeze, fear crap lanes, and we move up to right here where we're using our executive brain and we're doing what really matters, what we were put on this God's earth, or for me, to do and to bring forth and to serve. So anyway, Jessica, I have like everybody's got their hand up now. I'll start with Mo.
My evolution, Sandra, started when I was at a dinner party and I was being myself, and my husband, then husband, was kicking me under the table, and we got home because I was saying things that were upsetting him. But like I was just being funny and me, and I said, "Do not ever kick me under the table again." And something in that moment shifted in me like, no, I may be too much for you, but I am just the right amount for millions of other people. And so, and the last point is there's a difference between fitting in and belonging. And when you get to show up as yourself and those people love and adore you for all those gifts and talents and have, you belong. Fitting in means you're trying to be something you're not. So you just you will know dynamically where your people are because they celebrate you for who you are. And that's for everybody here, and me included. So thank you, Sandra, for sharing that. And you had me crying. So luckily, I'm not wearing any makeup. I'm still in my Christmas jammy. So, so thank you so much. I love this group so much.
I
Thank you
love
so
it.
much.
I love it. It's
And
just this idea of acceptance. I love it. Um, Go ahead, LaSchelle.
did you want to go ahead and share?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share quick too that thank you all for everything that you're saying. Thank you all for showing up in your raw, authentic selves. I think it's so beautiful and it's so important for all of humanity, honestly, for us to be able to do that. Um, and I also wanted to mention that this past year too, for me, when I moved and downsized, it was so much and it was so overwhelming. I couldn't work. Like I had just a few clients and God gave me exactly what I could handle. Um, but in my head, I was like, I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough. Look at you. What are you doing? Like you're not running a business. You're barely getting by. And I had to let that go. Just like, you guys were saying, LaSchelle, like you were saying, it was really hard for me to let that go because I was so um programmed, right? That you're supposed to do, be, and all of those things. And, one day I came to this place where I was like, okay, Ann, you got to take care of yourself. You're not good to anybody else until you really get clear on you. And I've spent literally the last 4 to 5 months just taking care of myself. And I feel like I'm actually starting to breathe in new life, but really me at the same time. And it feels amazing and it feels powerful. And that I feel like now I can show up and actually be of service in a better way for other humans. And that's really what I want to do. So it really makes me feel really full in my heart. So thank you for the time and space here today. It's really helpful.
I just want to tell you, Anne, I live in 500 square feet. I live in a very small space. Anybody wants to visit me, they can climb in bed with me or have the little pull-out couch, or they can go get a hotel. But this is where I'm at.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. That's beautiful too. right? Thank you.
I love that. Just and Anne, thank you so much for sharing. This has been so powerful, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys joined me on the day on Boxing Day for some of the Canadians here, and for the day after Christmas on an early time. Thank you, Rennie. But I really think this is really powerful stuff. Jessica, go ahead and.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I love that we are all crones here. We've all lived a beautiful, in all ways of manner of understanding that word, life, and gained wisdom along the way, scraped our knees, all that kind of stuff. And here we are at the place of opening the door to radical self acceptance. And Sandra, what you said was so beautiful and how vulnerable you are. And I really hear what you said about how some people have like accused you of being harsh, but you want to be able to have your authentic voice. You don't want to have to dim your light. But I know from the scrapes and tumbles that I've been going through because I have had in the past people accuse me of that harshness, is that once you come to accept yourself, there is no harshness. You can express yourself with power and potency and like from the internal wisdom that you have, and no one will ever say that you're harsh because you won't need to like demand people that respect you or demand that people listen to you or demand that people accept you. You will do all those things for yourself. And so the wisdom that pours out of you will just be like mellifluous. So
Oh, so true. So true. Thank you, Jessica. LaSchelle, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to thank her. I just appreciate the acknowledgement of the wisdom and the radical self acceptance. I that is so beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. And Wendy, we'd love to hear from you.
I got to tell you, I have lived an amazing chaotic life. And I have this place that I've been working on. I call it sometimes I call it the bog of the egoic swamp. Sometimes I call it the cesspool of the egoic swamp, where it's dark and painful, where I've been stifled and needing permission and fitting in and wanting to be liked or likable. So again, you stifle yourself. So now I've been switching out and I'm being expressional. I'm just doing stuff. I'm like, I love that belonging word, not fitting in, just belonging. And if I don't belong there, I just go on, just okay. And what I noticed is as I shine my light into my own personal cesspool of the egoic swamp, you know what's there? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's the most amazing thing. And yeah, don't be less than you are. We all need us to be all that we are. That's what's needed. People will be attracted to all that you are. And if they're not, and another thing that I'm doing, I'm reading actually The Mastery of the Heart, or I don't know, it's some kind of book again. And and one thing it talks about is your garden and tending your garden. And it says, if there are people that don't respect your garden, sometimes you can't let them into your garden until your garden is strong and bearing fruit. So for now, you may have to fence in some parts of your garden. But then it says, but when your garden is strong, then you could share your garden, even with people who may not respect your garden. So again, it's a kind of a you first kind of a thing, but not in a way that's selfish, but in a way that it's loving and sharing. A different way to do it. So you're not pulling back. You're actually growing something to share. So that's where I'm at.
Wendy, I love that. And you sharing that made me think of some stuff I learned this summer when I was gardening again. I had planted these plants and I actually lost one. And one of the reasons I lost it was because I didn't give it the strength. And one of the things I'd done for the other ones was I pulled out a fan and I would turn on a fan full blast because it was giving them strength. And I think for us, a lot of the trials and experiences that we've had have given us the strength to be able to rise above, to realize because we're grounded, we're rooted, and so now we're able to actually go out and share with others. The other thing that it was Anne that said this earlier. Um, you were talking about different organizations that you had spent a lot of time with, and I actually have had that. I had had some coaches that I'd had for 6 or 7 years, and at the beginning of this year, I realized it had been right for me before, but it wasn't right for me anymore. And I needed to let go. And it was really hard. It was kind of like going through a divorce or something, or having a friend. And it was something that was kind of like always been there. But I knew I had to let go of that in order to grow. And so I think that that's also like giving yourself the permission to let go of things. And I know Mo and I both were in a community that we both, well, actually we've been in two, that we've both let go of the parts that we didn't like because they weren't serving us. And I'm still paying for the one part, and it's kind of painful knowing how I didn't really get what I wanted, and I had for something else. So, um, giving us to ourselves permission, and that was one of my big lessons this year. Is I knew I should have left 2 years ago, and I didn't. And so I ended up spending a lot of money on something I shouldn't have done, and I should have listened to what I really felt inside. And so I think getting stronger and knowing, putting ourselves first, it's what is important for me, what is for my highest value, so I can be my best. And so I really appreciate you, and I wanted to acknowledge that about you, Anne, that I know it's not easy letting go. And it's it's amazing. So anyway, okay, I can't believe that we this has been the most amazing conversation, and this is not how I planned to go. So I love that that's where we are. So I am actually going to, because we only have like about 34 minutes left, and I wanted to spend more time on 2025, but you know what? I think this foundation we needed for 2024, because that knowing where we were um, is something to move forward. And so I'm going to give this opportunity because I think one of the things that we as a society have not been great about, and that is downplaying ourselves. So if you can think of one thing that you did this year that you have not already shared that you would like to acknowledge and celebrate, we want to celebrate with each one of you. And so, Mo, your face is like, I don't know. Because a lot of times we're not tooting our own horn, or we just kind of let the good things go by and not really acknowledge them, even though we worked really hard on them. And so I'm going to go first, and I'm actually going to pull Renee into this too. And she sort of hinted at it, but she doesn't know I'm doing this. So I don't, up until now, like sales. And I still don't. They're uncomfortable. They're miserable for me. I've spent lots of money trying to get myself comfortable with them. Guess what? It's not comfortable still. And I guess what? I realize there are people who are really good at sales and they're not comfortable. And so this is probably something I'm going to struggle with for the rest of my life. And I also know too that sales, unless I'm doing something, aren't going to come. I have to actually do something. So my celebration for this year was Renee did the first one with me. So I've put myself out twice, and I've earned 2 coins, a 5-ounce coin and another coin, for doing some challenges in some sales. I'm actually working on one right now, and I'm supposed to have 40 people by, I don't know, next week, and I've got 0. So I have like 2 people committed. Anyways, to actually just watch something for me. But it's interesting because I saw the growth of me helping other people get through something that I'm not comfortable with. And when I realized helping other people and putting on my brave face, even when I was scared like crapless, to help in the interest of helping others, it was a good thing. And so I put myself way out of my comfort zone, and I want to celebrate that. So that's mine. We'll just go around quickly and celebrate what you guys would love to celebrate.
Yeah, thank you, LaSchelle. I think LaSchelle, Sandra, and I would talk about this, how we don't like sales. We are afraid of sales, or it's not comfortable for us. But also, I think one of the things I realized is one of the reason I wanted so bad is that I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. Because I can't, like, I can raise money if it's not for me, if it's for nonprofit or some charity or something, but not if it's for me, for my benefit. It's kind of strange, this mindset thing. Um, but then I also feel like one of the things is because I have trouble with that I keep wanting to prove that I could do it. So I would try again and join another group and whatever, and then I quit again. But then I ask myself, do I really need to prove myself? Do I? If I don't like doing this, is it okay not to do it because I don't like it? And and I decided I don't like it and it's okay not to do it. I don't know if that's chicken out or what, but I don't want to do it and it's okay and I don't need to do it. Why am I doing it? I ask myself several times. Sometimes you do something just because you think you need to do it. Other people are doing it. Other people can do it. Why can't you do it? And it's okay not to do it. I don't like it and I'm not going to do it. That's me, 2025.
I love that, Rennie. And you're starting off by saying, hey, I don't like getting up at 7 a.m. And so we're going to start this at 8.
Yeah.
Miss Mo, would you like to
Even though
share your
sometimes you
celebration?
have guilt, you feel because we have been programmed to do things for other people, to serve people, to be this sacrificial lamb or whatever else is out there. Like we are, we like a martyr. We would do things for other people, but not for ourselves. So this year, I'm just gonna say, I want to do things for me. It's time.
I love that. Thank you, Rennie.
I
Miss
think it was
Mo?
Mo first. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll just
Really,
go in order. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had, I had that revelation when I was 47 years old, driving back from Florida, trying to learn the fourth dance routine for Les Mills body pump or body vibe. And I realized, I looked at my husband, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is hard. This is not, this is, I have other gifts and talents. This isn't it. And I just, but my old me would have kept going. I'm really proud. I had a full-on anxiety attack in this spring because of what happened with my family. And, it was a real pivot for me and it gave me the tools. I thought I had worked through some things that I clearly had not, and it gave me the tools though to confront a coach who did me dirty, did me wrong, but also, and so that was difficult because I do not like difficult conversations. I don't like confrontation. Because I'm not very stealthy at rhetoric or comebacks, or I'm just like, what? Because I expect everyone to be honest and upfront and forward, right? And I'm just not manipulative in any way, which is a good thing. But it gave me that strength. That incident in the spring gave me the strength to hold my ground, and it was uncomfortable. And I have went through a lot of breathing processes before that conversation, and I had my current coach, amazing, standing in my corner telling me I can do this, and she was so proud of me that I did it. It was a perfect no. Did I say all the things I wanted to say? No. Did it come out the way I wanted to? No. But I stood my ground, and I proved to myself I can do these things. I can do hard things, even harder things than, living with multiple sclerosis or giving away kids. So I was very proud of myself that I stood up for me. And because no one's coming to save me. There's little sieves every day, but at the end of the day, you got to show up for you. And I did. And I'm very proud of myself for that.
Mo, I love that. And having watched you go through it, I'm really, really proud of you for bringing that up and letting us celebrate that with you. Thank you. Miss Wendy.
Yeah. Some of the things that I achieved is I stopped placing expectations on outcome. If that I don't know if that makes sense. I don't care what happens. I put
Oops.
We lost Wendy.
Yeah, she
We
was just
lost
freezing up.
her.
Yeah, she was freezing on mine.
She was freezing on
Yeah.
mine too, and I'm like, I'm writing down. So I'm actually, when I'm looking away, I'm actually writing notes because of your brilliance, and I wasn't, so that I can comment.
She'll be back
Sandra,
in.
while we're waiting for Wendy to rejoin us, why don't you go ahead and share yours?
I just wanted to say that awesome feeling of the lady who was prepared to sign up with me, got laid off on the Friday, has no backlog of cash around. And she was just so intense that like, you're the one. And so we looked at it and we both had really connected. So she is now my VA in training because she really gets what I'm doing. And so when she gets that all sorted out, there'll be other Sandras that need to have the same help. That, I mean, she's going to be brilliant in clipping videos and getting them out everywhere, and she's really such a match that we decided instead to barter. So I'm paid in full.
Oh, I
That's
love that.
awesome.
Win win for both
Yeah,
of you.
that feeling of somebody that just desperately wants to work with me because we are a match.
Well, and Sandra, your words from earlier today actually just popped in my head as you said that, and that's the ripple. And this is that ripple that you're not just teaching her how, you're not just coaching her. You're actually, she's probably getting more because of the situation she's in, and you're
Hmm.
actually giving her, you're teaching her how to fish
Hmm.
in more than ways than one. Like,
Yes,
so that is powerful.
it's
Celebration,
it,
girl.
it's amazing. So I'll let everybody know who she is when she gets herself. She's very organized. I send her stuff at random times, and she knows take a quick look. If there's not urgent, it goes just in the Sandra file for later, and she'll work
I
on it.
love
Yeah,
that.
so she's going to be brilliant at it. I know.
Oh,
Wow.
thank
What
you.
a great match.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
And Wendy, you're back. Would you like to finish what you were saying?
if I
We didn't
can.
hear part of it, Wendy.
Okay, so what I did is I stopped placing expectations into, I stopped placing expectations into outcome. And I'm just going with the flow and allowing things to turn out the way they do. And either they turn out exactly the way they should or better. So that's been a very amazing outcome for that. I notice when I'm judging, like when I get judgy, and then I've been practicing looking in the mirror, proverbial mirror, and laughing at myself because I realize that's probably something I need to heal in myself that I'm just kind of projecting outward and then judging it. Like, who am I? So, and I don't know why somebody's doing that anyway. That might be just for me to see. So I just leave it. Instead of triggered, I now use the words I'm activated to heal.
Awesome.
And so what I do is I experience the whole thing. I'm like, I don't try to reject it. I'm like, I feel yucky. I don't like this. Why am I feeling this? And I've noticed that, and then I hand it off to my higher self. I don't know what this is for. I don't know why I feel this way. And I notice I shift. I begin a shift.
Oh, she's freezing
Oh,
again.
she froze again.
Yeah,
Rats.
that's a great ending though. So it won't matter.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because the one thing that when she said this, I have a coach that he uses this acronym for HEAL, helping everyone achieve love, and and I think that that is so perfect to go along with what she said. That
Wendy's back.
I know she's back. So that she's awakened to heal, which like helping everyone achieve love is so perfect for that. Like that popped in my head when she said that and I thought, "Oh, I guess I'm programmed." But I think that's a good thing because instead of being triggered, which I think a lot of people use that as an excuse. I love that, Wendy. Did you want to say more? Because we lost you again.
No, that was it, actually. I phased out exactly at the right sentence.
Fade to black.
The
How
shift.
And
perfect.
I also love
And
what Wendy said about radical acceptance.
Wayne Dyer would be proud because he thinks he talks about the shift and you felt it. We all felt it. We all feel it. The
Yes.
shift.
so cool.
And
So, one of the things that I'm celebrating from this past year is allowing myself to not react. I was so in reactive mode, and that came from a dysregulated nervous system. And when I've learned through my work and my practices is to check in with me and trust me first and listen and just let things come to me. I was always so afraid, right? That I needed to react and I needed to know the answers and I needed to do it all right now. And that was not serving me or anyone else. And when I allowed myself to just be and allowed myself to receive, then everything shifted for me. Everything has shifted for me and things just come to me now. And it's just so magnificent and so beautiful. And it's just such a cool place to be. And it really feels good. And I love the fact that, and that actually is what really kind of brought me even here was like, it's sort of like what we've been talking about a little bit already too, right? Is like being uncomfortable with being comfortable with the uncomfortable or like trying new things. And I've done that so much this year. But I think that all still kind of goes back to really like believing in yourself and trusting yourself. And I help people find what their soul's purpose is. And this year, I started to really live my own. Like before, I was sort of just trying to help everybody else. And this year, my soul's purpose is to be empowered with inherent worthiness and to share that with others. And when we know our own self-worth and we step into our own empowerment, because that's my soul's purpose, when I live me, then I'm serving and helping you live you in that same way. And it obviously you learn your own soul's purpose, but hopefully that makes sense and resonates with you all. Thank you for listening.
And it totally does. And I just love that. And I was thinking as you have gone through some bumps in the road, that's just making you the stronger coach, the stronger guide for these people to help them find them. And because you've gone through bumps, you can understand, you can comprehend, you can feel in a way that if you hadn't gone through all of those other things, you wouldn't be able to see some of the things that would be able to help them. Because I think
Mhm.
and this just popped in my mind. And yes, I am a Bible girl, and I'm not going to be ashamed for it. But there's a story in the Bible about the beam and the mote, and it talks about how this person is seeing a mote, which is like a sliver in somebody else's eye. But you got this big old beam going right through your eye. Like, hello, you've got your own big problem. And so I think sometimes we're dished out these opportunities to learn so that we can actually see that mote in the other person's eye and help them take it out. And they might even have a beam there too. And we'll be able to help them do it. Because what I really realized is we are in charge of our own everything. And we are given guides and helps and friends to help us get to what our purpose is. And so it sounds like most of us are coaches in this realm anyway. So I love that we're just going through stuff. And I love the sharing. So thank you so much, Anne.
So
Appreciate
true.
that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that reflection back too. That's beautiful. I have to
Thank
jump
you.
off, everyone, but this was so beautiful. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you
thank
so
you,
much.
Anne.
Happy
We
New
Happy
Year.
New
appreciate
Year.
you.
There will be no meeting on the 2nd. Again, this is another one of those.
Those days. Well, Happy New Year to
Yes.
everyone.
Happy
Thank
New Year.
you on the
I
replay.
just have a turn. I just
Thank
have a
you.
turn. Hello. I did not have a turn.
I know that, Jessica. I have not forgotten you. I was just going to say, and Jessica, we haven't heard from you, and we want to celebrate you. Thank you, Anne. Happy New Year.
Yeah, go ahead, Jessica.
Thank you. I felt the energy was leaving, and I just wanted to be able to celebrate my whatever this year. But like what I have two, and one of them is more ephemeral, like what Anne was just saying about taking responsibility. What I learned this year in the deepest way, because for a long time, my husband and I, well, we've been together 20 years, were hanging by an absolute thread this year as well. And I didn't know what was going to happen. Here we are in Chile, right? We're not even in our country of origin, and we just bought property and everything. And we were just like, I don't know. It was just really hard because there was a lot of stuff from the past that we had to get through. What I realized is it's my responsibility to take 100% of my responsibility, not 101 and not 99. And that takes a lot of thinking about, because, like we've all said before, we have a tendency to take on more, like, it's my fault or it's your fault. And I switched the word fault and responsibility, and that really made a huge difference, because then nobody was being punished. I wasn't punishing myself, and I wasn't punishing the other person. So that was huge for me in all realms of life. And then the other thing I wanted to celebrate was that this year I restarted my business in a completely different format. And I chose a name that I was just getting, it didn't sit right with me, and I was getting all kinds of negative feedback. And so I celebrate that I was able to be agile enough to completely rebrand again. And the day that I changed the name of my business to Give Yourself Space, a woman came into my life who is an unbelievable intuitive graphic designer. And she created an entire brand for me just by listening to where I was coming from. She just intuited. It was kind of a miracle. I just wanted to say one more quick thing, and that is the minute I stopped thinking of myself as doing sales, then I had nothing to be afraid of. All I was doing was showing showing my cards, showing my hand, who I am. And once I did that, people would start to come. So, I don't think of myself doing sales anymore. When I'm on the phone with somebody who's interested, I'm not selling them anything. I'm just telling them what I do. And that takes all the pressure off. So,
Yay.
Jessica, I love that. You had so much wisdom in there. And I love the replacement of the fault versus responsibility. And it reminds me so much of Brene Brown and a lot of her work that I've studied and absolutely love. And I also realized too, like with the Brene stuff, sometimes we can't be doing 100%. We're just not physically, energetically able to, and it's okay. But being honest about it with whoever we're with, and that to me is so powerful. So I applaud you. And isn't life interesting that when we decide to let things go, the perfect person comes in, just to help us and be able to lift us. It's like we struggle, and then it's like, boom, here's a little blessing. Cool. I can move myself forward. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. And so I'm looking at the time, and we're where we were supposed to be about half an hour in. But I also want to acknowledge too, I actually think this was super important, and that's why I threw my plan out the window. So we have about 12 minutes before we're supposed to end. And so I'm going to give you guys a choice. And that is, if you would like to, I can give you a really quick thing for 2025, or Rini, I haven't even talked to you about this. If you wanted to, we could do 2025 next Thursday, if you wanted to. And if you're not available, Rini, I could use my link, And but you can pick, and don't feel pressure. Um,
I think it's up to everyone here. I was it was Jessica was supposed to do this Thursday, and then I was canceling because I said we're changing the time, and and I also feel like I wanted a break. But
okay.
if if everyone here wanted to do it and just keep the 7 o'clock, because I know that's the time slot that works for you, I'm okay with that.
You
What
want
is
to go
that,
to 8 o'clock?
Jessica?
Is that it, Jessica?
You
What
have made it really clear that you want it to be at 8 o'clock. I really
Yeah.
encourage you to advocate for yourself. Like there was no uh, muddiness about that. You really wanted it to be at 8 o'clock, and I encourage you to trust yourself and
okay. And
And
another
I would,
option, and another
Rennie,
I
option,
would
LaSchelle.
suggest,
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
would suggest
Rennie, I
that
just want to say to you though, I also am giving you the option too, because if you were looking forward to having a break completely, I would be happy to use my link and you don't have to be here for next week and it's okay. That's
My
also a choice that you have.
my
Just a reminder.
suggestion is to for me to find a time slot for you to do it in 2025 at 8 o'clock. But I know your schedule, LaSchelle, 8 o'clock is not good for you.
I will make it happen at 8 o'clock next week.
Okay,
If that's your
so let
wish,
me
I
find a
will be
time
there.
slot. Okay, I'll find a time slot for you so you can complete. You have plenty of time, and I could be
Yeah.
present because I want to hear it too.
Okay.
So let me do that if that's okay with everyone.
and my option number three, I was going to throw in. I didn't know we were going for an hour and a half this morning, but that's great. But you've got us wound up so beautifully that I think our heads are already in that space to
Do you want
just
to keep going?
wind up what we would have right now. I don't know if you can do it in 10 or
I
15
can.
minutes, but I
Well,
think
I don't know if we could do it or 10 or 15 minutes, but I'll give it a shot. That's cool.
Yeah,
Like 9
LaShelle,
minutes.
you can
Yeah.
wrap up this session here, but then I'll find you a time slot to finish to do the 2025
Okay.
so other people who are not here could also participate.
That's totally fine. Whatever. So here we're going to put a vote. I'm going to have you put in the chat. One is if you want us to do it next week, and number two is find a different time slot later. Three is to wrap it up in 15 minutes. So go ahead and stick your vote in the chat. If you want to put it privately to me, that's perfect. I won't tell your name. So far, I have one vote. Rennie.
Well, I mean,
Okay, I
for
got
you,
two. Oh, I love Sandra's.
yeah. You know what? This has been such a
Okay.
delicious conversation. I'm happy just to wind it up for 8 minutes right here. I mean, you've taken us around, and Reenie's going to make sure you're early in 2025 so it's still relevant for planning our
Yeah.
year. I'm happy with that.
no, I mean,
Okay.
for you to wrap it up right now, Michelle, you can wrap it up right now, but then I still going to find time for you to
For the
do your complete whole hour thing in
yeah.
2025. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
meant, really. That's what I
No,
meant.
that's
I
what I
got it.
meant.
Got it. Got
That's
it.
what I meant as well, Reenie.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just want to then I'll just wrap it up really fast in like a couple of minutes. I just want to say thank you so much for jumping in and being full throttle, open, honest, um and being willing to actually share. This is something that I know is so important, and it feels like a lot of people made a lot of breakthroughs this year. And I think actually hearing other people's breakthroughs and Sandra witnessing your breakthrough last week was so powerful, and that you've had a whole week to think about it and that it's actually sinking in. And Wendy, I love what you've done. Your swamp, I thought swamp was a bad word, and I love that you have your swamp and that you are so in love with your swamp that I will never, that means that I was programmed to think one way. And now that I've seen you painted a beautiful picture of your swamp, I'm like, I'm curious about that. That's awesome. And I celebrate Mo for all that you do. And Rinny, I am so proud of you for actually leaning in and asking questions like, do I really want to be doing this coffee club? And realizing how powerful an impact it really is, and seeing you don't have to do it by yourself, because you didn't celebrate that. But I know that like asking other people to step forward has been hard for you. And also, I think it's been a huge gift to you to see the impact that you have made, and that people still want it. They still feel it's valuable. But also the realization you don't have to do it all by yourself. There's other people you can ask for. And so that's actually why the one offer, if you wanted me to do it next week, I would be happy to, and you wouldn't have to come. And and that's okay. And being okay with that. So thank you for your shares, your deep shares. This has been really, really powerful, really inspiring. And until we get to the 2025, I want you to make the best of the remaining days of 2024, because we still have a week to get some stuff done, girls.
LaSchelle, this has been an amazing process session, really. This is really, I know you have a whole agenda of things, but to me, this sharing thing is so important for of us to get things out of our chest, things that are holding us back, and things, it's like the foundation necessary to move us forward. I can't wait for the 2025. I know Jessica actually offered to host the next week, but I wanted to take a break. I wanted to just because I'm changing the time, and that's kind of my way of like, okay, we're starting a new thing here. We're changing the time. So I just wanted to have 1 week break. And that's that. So thank you, LaSchelle. I can't wait. I'll find a time slot for you to continue. This is such a great, like Sandra said, sisterhood. Uh, we're supporting each other, uplifting each other more than just a presentation. So with that, Happy New Year, everyone. Can't wait to have the best, for all of us to have the best year ever next year. So, LaSchelle, is there anything last minute you want to say before we close? Anybody else want to say anything before we close?
I
Okay.
just think that this has just been an amazing conversation, and bringing the topics forward is brilliant. I mean, your plan B, LaSchelle, would have been if nobody was sharing, you'd do your presentation. But you opened us all up, so that's so much more important. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Sandra, thank you, because the lesson too is I was actually stressed out. My tech wasn't working. And I've had this happen actually probably the last 4 times that I've presented to people. And it's interesting because it's showing that what's really, really important is coming forward. And I had all this stuff all planned out. I had everything ready, and I can do it without having the tech. But I really felt like when I started hearing the shares that the most important part was the sharing and the hearing and the processing that everybody needed to do. And so this is a great lesson to me to, you know what, just listen to what really, really matters and go with what's really important. And
Because
that I prepared.
this is the healing. This is the
Yeah.
healing, that finding that one little word that transforms. The swamp is such a beautiful space. We can't walk in it because we'd get down in the muck, but there's so much life in the swamp, beautiful life. And that's where the cattails come from, and the beautiful sounds of the animals, whether it's the frogs or the loons or the whatever. So yeah, just changing one word is
Yes.
powerful, and that's what we get when we do our sharing. We run into it by
Yeah.
accident almost. It
Yeah.
Yeah.
shows up.
Thank you. And on January 9, the first meeting in 2025, Cody will be conducting a Wild at Heart workshop to learn how to fiercely move forward into 2025. So how appropriate that is, that topic. So with that, Mo, did you want to say something before we close?
No, I just got a storm going on here, so I'm like, you see me cringing, but yeah, I love what Sandra said, and it reminds me of the buffalo, heading straight into the storm because then it passes more quickly when we take things head on, when we are courageous, brave, show up for ourselves and for others. Love the acronym of HEAL. I wrote that down. Um, just everyone sharing. Look what happens when people come forward and share their gifts and talents and views, and on a universal level, this isn't about who we love or what we believe, this is about the soul, and it is the
Mhm.
connection of souls, which transcends all the other man-made things. And that's what I really lean into now and into 2025. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. So powerful.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. Thank
Beautiful.
you, LaSchelle, and thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. See you next year.
Well, love you guys. Have a great new
Oh, God
year.
bless. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
It's crazy.